This is our fourth video for Chapter 1. This is Chapter 1, Section 4, Adding and Subtracting Decimals. What you'll learn in this video is to add and subtract decimals and to solve problems including decimals. And remember, rounding is a method of estimation that compares a digit's value to 5. The one and only vocabulary term you need to define from this video is front-end estimation. When you see its definition, be sure to pause the video and write it in your notebook. To find the sum or the difference of two amounts of money, you need to add or subtract with decimals. If you estimate before you add or subtract, you can tell whether your answer is reasonable. One way you can estimate is to round. Let's look at an example of finding decimal sums. Remember, anything that is a sum is addition. So we're going to find the sum of 3.026 plus 14.7 plus 1.38. So if we look at those numbers, we want to estimate first. So we reviewed rounding in the previous video. And we're going to round to the closest whole number since all of these have a whole number. So 3.026 is closest to 3. It's definitely closer to 3 than to 4. Then 14.7 is pretty close to 15 because 7 is closer to 15 or closer to 10 than to 0. So we would round up to 15. Then 1.38, 3 is closer to 1 than to 2. So we would round that one to 1. So 3 plus 15 plus 1 is 19. So our estimate this for problem is that it's going to be around 19. Then we need to add up the different amounts. Remember, when you're adding or subtracting decimals, you have to line up the decimal points. So if we line up our decimals, and anywhere there is an empty hole to where there is not already a number, you just fill it with zeros. So 14.7 didn't have 2 more zeros on the original number, but to fill all the holes in our addition problem, we're going to fill in with zeros because it doesn't change the value of the number, it just fills in the holes and makes it to where you're less likely to make a calculation error. Then once we add it up, we get 19.106, which is pretty close to our estimate. So our estimate was reasonable, or the sum is reasonable because it was pretty close to our estimate. Pause the video and do this quick check in your notebook. Be sure to label it as either exercises or quick check, number it, and show all your work. You do need to estimate first, so show me where you rounded all of your numbers and found your estimation, then show me adding them all up with your decimals lined up. In front-end estimation, you estimate by first adding the front-end digits, or the numbers that are in the beginning. Then you estimate the sum of the remaining digits. You adjust the sum of the front-end digits as necessary. Now let's look at an example of using front-end estimation. So we're going to use front-end estimation to estimate the total cost of buying one of every size of popcorn shown. So we have a small for $3.98, a medium for $6.49, a large for $9.08, and a junior size for $3.47. So first we're going to estimate. So we're going to add the front end digits. So the 3, the 6, the 9, and the 3, which gets us to 21. Then we're going to look at the second digit. So 98 is close to $1. Then 49 and 47 is pretty close to $1. So, throw the 8 in there too. So that's about $1. So we'll say about $2 for the change. So we've got we've got $21 in the dollars and about $2 in the change. So our estimate will be that it will be about $23. Let's look at another example of front-end estimation. Say we have $4.99 plus $2.95. To do front-end estimation, you line it up just like you would adding up any decimal. Then first we start with adding up the whole dollar amounts, or the amounts in front of the decimal. So 4 plus 2 gets us to 6. Then we're going to do estimation for the change, or the decimal places. So 99 is close to $1, and 95 is also close to $1. So we're going to estimate that those will be about $2 more. So then $6 plus $2 gives us a front-end estimation of $8. If you want to check to see if your estimate is reasonable, we can just do the math. So $4.99 plus $2.95. 9 plus 5 is 14, carry the 1. 18 plus 1 is 19, carry the 1. 4 plus 1 plus 2 is 7. $7.94 is pretty close to $8, so our estimate is reasonable. Pause the video and do this quick check in your notebook. Be sure to use front-end estimation. So I do not want the actual total. I want to see you using front-end estimation to estimate about what the total cost will be. Not actually lining up all the decimals and adding up every single digit. You're doing front-end estimation to get your best guess for what the popcorn will cost. Now let's look at finding the difference with decimals. Remember, when it asks for the difference is subtraction. So we're not estimating in this example, this is simply doing subtraction. So say a basketball hoop is 46 centimeters across. A basketball is 24.28 centimeters across. What is the difference between these measurements? So first we're going to estimate. So we know our original problem is 46 minus 24.28. So we're going to round 24.28 to a number that's easier to work with. So 24.28, 0.2 is closer to 24 than to 25. So we'll leave it at 24. So we're going to estimate 46 minus 24, which is 22. So first we're going to write 46 with a decimal point and 2 zeros. Because remember, anytime there are empty holes in your decimals, you just fill them in with zeros. So we have 46.00 minus 24.28. Then we need to regroup and make the 46 into 45 and turn that first zero into, or the 2 zeros into a 10. So we're regrouping all the way down from the 6 all the way down to the end of the problem to get numbers that we can actually subtract. So we end up with 4, 5, 9, 10 going across the top, so that gives us all numbers that we can subtract. So we have 10 minus 8 gets us 2, 9 minus 2 is 7, 5 minus 4 is 1, and 4 minus 2 is 2. So the difference between 46 and 24.28 is 21.72 centimeters. To check for reasonableness, 21.72 is pretty close to 22, which was our estimate, so the answer is reasonable. Pause the video and do this quick check in your notebook. Be sure to line up your decimal points and fill in any holes with zeros. Now it's time to check your understanding. Be sure to label it as check your understanding in your notebook, number all of your problems, copy down the original problems, and show all your work. And remember, on the ones where it wants you to estimate, you don't need to give the actual total, you are estimating to find each sum. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.